So we'll come back. In the earlier section, we saw the derivation of wave equation for a EM wave in lossy dielectric. So you have to study that equation. It's very important. The derivation is very important. Though it's lengthy, the derivation is simple. So you write down and study. Okay, you can't mug up. You just write down and study. Now, in this section, we will see the relation between alpha, beta and gamma. So we have the wave equation. Del square Es minus gamma square Es is equal to 0 and del square Hs minus gamma square Hs is equal to 0. Where gamma is a propagation constant and you know gamma square is equal to j omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon, which is equation 1. Actually, this gamma is a complex number which can be defined as gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta. I am squaring it. Gamma square is equal to alpha plus j beta the whole square. So, gamma square is equal to alpha square plus 2j alpha beta minus beta square, which is my equation 2. In the next step, what I am going to do is I am going to take the real part separately from this gamma square. So, the real part is gamma square minus beta square. So, I have written it. Real part of gamma square is equal to alpha square minus beta square, which is my equation 3. And similarly from equation 1, I will be taking the real part. So, if I remove this term, remove the bracket, the first term will be what? J omega mu epsilon. And the second part will be j omega mu epsilon into j omega epsilon. This one, right? So, here j and j square, which will be minus 1. So, that is our real part. That is minus omega square mu epsilon is the real part. So, I am comparing these two equation 3 and 4. So, I can write alpha square minus beta square is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon. Now, from 1 we can write what is gamma square by removing the bracket. It is gamma square is equal to j omega mu sigma minus omega square mu epsilon. Then I am going to take the magnitude. So, you know how to take the magnitude. Magnitude of gamma square is equal to square root of what? My square of the imaginary part plus square of the real part. That is written here, square root of omega mu sigma the whole square plus minus omega mu sigma the whole square. I am expanding it. Then what is done in this step is I have taken omega raised to 4 mu square epsilon square outside and slightly rearranged the expression as 1 into 1 plus sigma square omega square epsilon square, which is equation 6. Similarly, we have gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta. So, if I am going to take the magnitude of gamma, then I can write square root of alpha square plus beta square. Then I am taking gamma square, the magnitude of gamma square, which I can write it as what? Square root of alpha square plus beta square the whole square. So, which will be equal to alpha square plus beta square, which is equation 7. Now, I can equate equation 6 and 7. So, the left hand side is equal. So, the right hand side can be written as alpha square plus beta square is equal to square root of omega raised to 4 mu square epsilon square into 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square. This one. So, I am taking this term outside the root. So I can write omega square mu epsilon into square root of 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square, which is equation 8. Now from equation 5 we have alpha square minus beta square is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon. We already derived it. Next what I am going to do is I am going to add this 8 and 9. 8 and 9. So what happens, this beta will get cancelled. Finally I will get 2 alpha square is equal to, the left hand side will be 2 alpha square and the right hand side will be omega square mu epsilon into square root of 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square minus omega square mu epsilon. Slightly taking this omega square mu epsilon outside. So I can write 2 alpha square is equal to omega square mu epsilon the whole bracket to 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square minus 1. From that what is alpha square? That is 1 by 2 into the whole term. So finally what is alpha? Alpha is equal to so from that alpha will be equal to omega into square root of mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square minus 1. Okay, so this is alpha, omega into the whole square root. Okay, this is a whole square root of, inside that we have a square root term also, that is square root of mu epsilon by 2, then the whole into 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon the whole square minus 1, where alpha is a attenuation constant. Okay, alpha is your attenuation constant. Similarly, next what I am going to do is I am going to take the difference of 8 and 9. So when I take the difference of 8 and 9, I can write what here, this alpha square will get cancelled and I will get 2 beta square is equal to omega square mu epsilon into square root of 1 plus sigma by omega the whole square plus omega square mu epsilon. Okay. And from that I can write beta is equal to omega into, here it is omega, so if I am taking the square, here it is omega square, so if I am taking the square root it will become omega. So beta is equal to omega into the whole square root of what, mu epsilon divided by 2, which is inside the square root, into square root of 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon the whole square plus 1, where beta is known as a phase constant or wave number. So these are the expression for alpha and beta, where alpha is the attenuation constant and beta is a what, phase constant. And that's all in this derivation. This also please try to by heart, the expression for alpha and beta. And thank you.